Well, I got a donor carcass for that saw, which is a 372 XP. I paid 30 bucks for it. Of course, none of that's any good. All I need is actually this side of the case. So, read this tag. It says 372 XP 07. That one's an 02. Should be the same. And this guy here probably just needs to be shook up a little bit. Bingo. Whoever tore this one down actually put all the screws back in, that, which I don't need that, but it's there. And there's actually a couple more parts I could glean off this. Yeah, like a cap, and just the screws are worth keeping because, you know, just because. Isn't that nasty? Oh, that's the part I hate the most, is cleaning these things up. I don't like it. Okay, it's time to knock her loose. Methinks me has lost in some footage because where I just left off was like weeks ago. Probably last November, early December. All I did was washed everything and then ordered parts, but I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I think I've got other videos where I, you know, just point at that box and say I'm still waiting. So I got all my parts in today. I said, all right, I'm ready to put this thing together. Except then I found out I gotta order new parts. Hooray, finally. I got the last two pieces that I need to put this 372 XP together. Here we go. This part is that broken? Goes there. Just like that there. However, I think I'm going to remove it. Put that on later, much later. I thought that I was just going to go ahead and get started putting this thing back together. And I'm trying not to get confused here. Okay, that's the flywheel side. Clutch side for me. Clutch side for my brother-in-law. This one, I put Timberland 1. That's where I got it from, is a place out east of here. And they dug out a case for me. I put that on there, not to be confused with my original bad one, which is in there, which I put a yellow X on it for scrap. This one I put Timberland 2. I went and picked this one up because I thought this one was bad. I don't know if I already explained this in any of my other clips, so I'm going to explain it again. Here's the new seal. Needs to be pressed in because obviously everything's right. What happened was Husqvarna sent out the wrong seal before twice, and they just slipped right through the hole. So I told that to Timberland, and they scrounged up another one and gave it to me. turns out that was the problem. I called Timberland up, told them that I would, next time I'm out that way, I'll pay for this one because it's actually good. And I said, but it works out because I need both of them. So I had this one ready for the scrap pile. I had removed all the screws, that brass tube. I removed this bushing out of here and that right there, which is a pin. And I would be good to go except for one last thing. Right here is your oiler. And that's that hole there. And I believe that's part of it. I'm glad that when I stripped it out, I saved all the pieces, parts. Where are you going? Because otherwise, I wouldn't have these two pieces here that I need. So I look on here and just to see what's there. There's some type of a mesh thing. I don't know, some type of metal or something that it's made out of. And inside there is a duckbill valve. Well, here's my brother-in-law's scrap piece. And I'm wondering if there's any way to get that out of there without destroying it. So, once the vehicle's warmed up, I'm going to take these two pieces over to the mechanic and see what he thinks. I mean, otherwise I'll have to order it, which means I'm back to sitting with nothing else to do. So, I don't know. I might have to make a two-parter on this one. I was wanting to just do the whole thing in one video, but I don't want it to be an hour long, so we'll go see what they have to say. It's several hours later. After being thoroughly confused and mixed up, while trying not to be, for hours, and trying to figure out what's going on with these parts. Keeping in mind, I've got mine and my brother-in-law's. Mine is an older one, and my brother-in-law's is a newer one. His is a 2019, and mine is let's see if the bifocals will work. I think it's a 96. So, here's what's going on. The check valve that goes in here. If you look at that hole and that, I don't know what to call it, the casting that would come up in a round cylinder, that hole comes all the way to the top. This half, which is a scrap one, the other scrap one is the same as this one, and then the other good one is the same as this one. That is recessed with kind of a shoulder down in there. So what they did was they changed the design on their check valve, which went from this duckbill valve, which you would push up from the bottom side until it would poke out that hole, and then you would just press in this little bronze filter. This one has this style check valve. So you would press that down in there, and then I don't know if that sits flush here. I don't remember, but there is kind of a recessed, so maybe that that bronze filter goes in. That's what we're going to find out right now. Yes, sir. That's the deal. So all I got to do now is seat that bronze filter in there. Okay. Great day in the morning. It went in. Now I gotta get my thinking cap back on and figure out what I'm supposed to do next. I think I'm putting this bearing in finally. Put the bearing in. then the seal, and then we'll move on to getting the gasket, the crankcase gasket set, and then it will be putting in the crankshaft, which that's tricky. We'll have to use my bearing heater rubber. Here we go again. So we got the bearing in. What I did was either use a heat gun, but that was heating up really slow. So I grabbed my propane torch over here and had the digital thermometer on it, trying to reach 300 degrees. One Mechanic Online, that's where I got that temperature reading from. So if you have a digital thermometer, one of those laser gun ones, you know, do 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 do, and you can shoot it. And I shot it, and we got near 300. Now the other method is first you get a cup of coffee and take a sip. That's good. Hang on to this thing and get your propane torch or MAP gas, whatever you use. So you're hanging on to it over here, and heat this area up until it's hot over here. When you get to the point to where, okay, I don't want to hang on to this any longer, it's hot enough. And then you can press your bearing in. And I have this set here that I bought. I believe I got it on, I don't know if I got it on Amazon or if I ordered it from a website, but it's a pretty decent kit. Got everything you'll ever need, or maybe not. So that part's done. Now, now we need to get the crankshaft put in 1/2. All right, so I just put the the crankshaft in on the clutch side. And what I did was made this tool to heat up the bearing. I had to grind down the diameter of it, and all I did there was put the shoulder or the head of the bolt up here and let it ride flat up against that, and then I pinched it in between here, brought that up, and then I would just push that way, and then mic'd it out until I got the right diameter. I wanted it to be a little loose. What I did was I heated it up, and if it didn't fit in here, then I ground it off. So all I had to do was heat this up. You put it in here in the bearing, and then you just slowly turn it, rotate it with your fingers until the bearing just about seizes up, and that crankshaft just dropped right in. And so now I got to do this side, but we're going to get the gasket put on this side first. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do, and I tried, but I couldn't get that that locator pin out of one of the holes. You want them on both on one side, and I couldn't get one out without fear of crushing it, so I had a locator pin on 1/2 and one on the other, and that ain't good. Because what it did is it, as I was trying to put the halves together and it was turning on the bearing, it was moving part of the gasket around. So anyway, I was careful. I got it. Well, that went all right. I got the halves together, but I should have heated up that bearing with this tool even more than what I did. Put that there to cool. So what I did was used the screws to draw the halves together, and it came together good. So now what we're going to do is take a razor blade and cut these tabs off of that gasket. Next we're going to take the feeler gauge and center the crankshaft in there. I've got, starting out with 25 thousandths, it will go through here but not through that side. So we're going to try and tap the crankshaft left and right until we get it centered. I got it centered with 25. It still had some play on either side, so I went to 26 and now 27, and it's slightly tighter on one side, so I'm going to give her a tappy and see how it turns out. Okay, so I bumped it up to 28 thousandths, and buddy, she fits in there snug, just right on both sides. Perfect. It is centered. The new bearings have grease in them, but I put some 2-cycle oil down in there for good measure, and it feels really good. I can spin it easily by hand. So, what's next? Well, I can't go any farther getting the oiler assembly in there because I'm waiting for parts to rebuild some of the oilers. So here we are back to waiting for parts yet again. Probably another week. Today is Valentine's Day, just as a reference mark. I picked this up last year, the end of last year, I don't remember when. I wish I would have put a date on that box right there when I picked it up, so I knew from the time I got it until now how long this has taken. So until then, maybe we'll try to make part 1 and 2. Okay, we'll see you on the next one.